ABS has been around for a little over 30 years now. It's pretty cool how this family, the Patrick Phillips and his family, has kind of made history here with ABS way back before any of us remembered even the internet. If you can imagine that, this family was doing medical billing, and a lot of great things have come out of it. Patrick and Linda built this business and put it all together, and then decided to start teaching other people how to do it. That's how ABS came about. And now Patrick has passed the baton over to Adam, and Adam is now our CEO of ABS. Actually, I'll be interviewing him pretty soon because he's written an article for a magazine called Billing and Coding Advantage. It's all about artificial intelligence and medical billing. I can't wait for that to get posted so that I'll get to interview him. But he's also the founder of an organization called MIRMA. MIRMA is the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. This is where you will get your certification from once you complete our training. They're the ones that certify you as a certified medical revenue manager. Now we'll talk a little bit about all the different services that we have to offer here at American Business Systems throughout the webinar today. We won't be getting into the basic details of the normal topic items that we would talk about. So this is just an interview. It's really your opportunity to talk with one of our newest ABS licensees or business owners here at ABS. So I'm going to ask Adam to pop on here along with Michelle. So let's welcome both of them. Adam, it's good to see you this afternoon.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we've got Michelle here. Good afternoon,
Hi.
Michelle. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. So Adam, yeah, I know this is somebody that you wanted to interview. So why don't you kick off this interview with Michelle?
Yes, I wanted to interview her.
Yeah.
So is it Bassett? Is that how you say your last name?
Yes, Bassett.
Bassett. Okay.
Yep.
I wasn't
Yep.
sure. Cool. So thanks for being on here, Michelle. This is we like to interview owners about their story, and I felt that your story was great, and people would really like to hear it. And so let's just kind of start out with just kind of the basics. Tell us a little bit about your business background, your previous kind of work experience, and what led you down this path to starting a business with ABS.
Oh gosh, where do I start? So I've actually been in medical billing and coding for a really long time, about 30 plus years. I'm dating myself. Started out as a teenager, working in my mom's office, helping her run her office and setting them up, believe it or not, on the very first practice management software system called Metasoft. So converted everything over into that system and got them up running so that they could print claims. And of course, they didn't have electronic claims back then. Everything still had to be printed and signed and mailed out, through snail mail. But I've been doing this a really long time. I have a few certifications in coding and billing. But I decided that I kind of want to do it myself. I want to run my own business and not work for somebody else, because I want to help the smaller providers' offices, the doctors' offices, so they can, have a good medical billing company that they can rely on and make sure that their stuff is getting handled correctly. I got my license with ABS a couple of years ago, back in June of 2022, I think it is. Yep, June of 2022. I started out really slow because I was working a regular job at the time, kind of doing both, hoping that ABS would take off and, I could quit that day job. So I started out with a couple of small clients, doing their billing and stuff, and still working that day job, but I'm getting close to calling it quits on that day job and doing my ABS thing 100% full time.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. So I think there might be some people on here that are thinking, well, she's been in the industry for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you even need to work with ABS? Like, what was the thinking there?
So one of the biggest things that attracted me to ABS was the support system, and then all the different products that you guys offer for us to be able to utilize that provides that support. Because one of the last things you want to do is go into a doctor's office and not have anything to bring to the table for them. And one of the things that these doctors' offices are looking for is they're frustrated with their current EHR system. And so, if we can move them over to like iClaims, or move them over to, the EMRX, system, or even help them with like credentialing. Those are things that, I may not have the specific background, so say credentialing, but ABS has that. And it's a support system that I can lean on when I need somebody to help me with credentialing, or lean on somebody to help me with, the virtual care, because telehealth is huge now because of COVID. Now that, the insurance industry is now saying, okay, you can start doing telehealth for these providers. Having that virtual care as an option to provide for these patients or these doctors' offices is huge, because they don't know where to start. But we do, because we have the support of ABS.
That's right. So credentialing, for those of you who don't know, it's to kind of explain that to people in a quick way. Like it's like if a doctor wants to start accepting a new insurance plan, there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of just what does it mean? Like, what are you doing with credentialing? Like, there's a bunch of things, right?
So credentialing is huge. So if you want to even start, billing insurance companies, you have to get, credentialed, and that starts with getting an NPI, your the provider, and the group themselves. The doctors group have to get their own group NPI, and then the doctors have to get their individual NPIs, and that's all part of credentialing. And then once you have those, then you can start reaching out to the different insurance companies and saying, I want to be a participating provider with you. So can, we start the credentialing process. So you have to become credentialed with those insurance plans to be considered in network, and then be able to start billing claims to them.
Now, you just used a lot of words that people might not know what they mean. So everyone on this webinar, I wanted her to explain that, to let you know that this service, like most of our other ancillary services, we can provide that service on your behalf, so you don't have to know any of that stuff that she just said.
Yep.
So that's why I wanted to do that. Feel free to jump in with any questions, Eric. Same goes for everybody on the webinar. Feel free to just jump in with any questions, and we'll answer as we go. So I'm guessing you didn't look at really any other business opportunities or franchises. I mean, you were dead set on, I'm going to do billing, medical billing. This is what I know. But you needed someone to help you get doctors to the finish line, right? Marketing,
Yep.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
Yeah. I've been doing this for a long time, and one day I was just getting fed up, because the companies I've worked for are very large organizations, so they're owned by private equity backed board members, right? And so they take the medicine out of the practice. So the doctors are more focusing on paperwork and everything else, and they're more focused on numbers and not focused on actual patient care. And one day I kind of just got fed up, and I was like, I really need to start helping out these smaller providers' offices, to help them so they're not being, gobbled up by these private equity backed organizations. And I happened to just be Googling and, searching the internet for help with starting a billing business. And that's when I came across ABS, and just everything that you guys, said and listened to. And then when we called and we spoke to you guys, I was like, I've got to do this, because I think this is the right choice, and signed up with you guys, and I haven't regretted it one bit.
That's great to hear. Yeah, we actually get a lot of calls from people that they've gone through all the technical training. They've gone to, some sort of billing coding school. They have credentials. They actually have started their own business, but when it comes down to finding clients and marketing, they're like, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I need somebody to help. And that's where we come in, because we've been marketing to doctors for 30 years. So we know what works and what doesn't. So speaking of that, what marketing methods have you kind of gravitated to, and which ones are working the best for you? And how did you kind of get those clients that you have now? What was your preferred marketing method, I guess?
So marketing is not my forte. I'm not very good at it. I'm more like billing and coding, and running a billing office is definitely more my style. But most of my clients have been through just reaching out and answering questions for people. If somebody will post something on, Facebook, or, even in the ABS licensee, chat group that we have, they ask questions, and so I'll answer it. And they're like, oh my gosh, can you help me with some other stuff? And sure, by all means, I'll be more than happy to help you. And so they'll reach out, and, that's kind of just how I've gotten the leads. I've had a couple of warm leads though too, just being in the industry for such a really long time. I've had, some of those connections. And when they found out that I had my own business, they were like, hey, I'm looking for a new billing company, or, hey, it's been in-house, but my person's retiring and I need somebody to take over. Are you interested? And so those have kind of been like the warm leads just from the connections I've had. But I've had a lot of success with working with other licensees and helping them.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you're on several different billing coding groups, Facebook groups, stuff like that.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
So, yeah, so you're able to just kind of jump in, when people have questions, and
Yep.
you answer the questions and you immediately become the expert and they want to work with you, right?
Yep. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we teach people how to position themselves in that way. And I mean, obviously you do have a lot of that. I mean, you've got a ton of, technical knowledge. A lot of our owners, they go through our training and they're coming from a completely different background, but we give them just enough so that they can, what we like to say, they can speak conversationally about some of the big issues that are going on in the industry. And somebody a long time ago said you really only have to know a very small percentage more than someone else to be viewed as an expert. So
Yep.
we can teach people that are not like you, but coming from a different background, we can teach them how to kind of fake it till you make it, if you will.
Yep.
So
Yep.
any questions coming in yet, Aaron?
Yeah, I was going to say, because there's a couple of questions that kind of come in, with similar questions here. Rachel and Amar are kind of asking some of the same questions and Rachel kind of concise brings it down. Would it be better to have a coding background, or is ABS system user friendly that you don't need coding? So do you want to kind of address that a little bit, Michelle? Obviously you've come with that already, but you can imagine all the people that may not have that. What are your thoughts on that?
It's definitely helpful, but it's not 100% necessary. Both iClaims and the EMRX, they have what's called a denial defender within them that allows them to check the codes prior to sending it out, and it'll give them clues and tips on how to fix those billing errors. If they're about ready to send a claim out, they just click on that denial defender and it'll say, hey, this modifier is inappropriate, or you need a modifier to go with this. Or the diagnosis code, isn't correct. Because diagnosis codes could have different number of digits that's needed. It says this one needs an additional digit, and then you can reach back out to the provider's office and say, hey, I'm seeing that this diagnosis code is not appropriate. Do you have a more specific one? And then usually the provider is really good about getting back to you, saying, oh yeah, sorry, I meant to send this one. Here's a more specific diagnosis code.
Sure.
But no, the software system has a lot of tools to be utilized. But again, you also have your ABS support system. Once you become an ABS licensee, you get added into their Facebook group, and that's where you've got other licensees, including myself, on there that you can send questions to and be like, hey, I'm getting this denied, I don't know how to do it or how to fix it, and then you've got that support system right there helping you.
I was going to say, besides support, we've got MIRMA, which is the full organization of
Yep.
all of the independent medical billers that we have, or business owners that we have here at American Business Systems. So you've got all the support that you're going to need. And that's one of the benefits, folks, when you're trying to get started in your medical billing business here. You're going to have people like Michelle that are going to be able to help you on the back end, which I believe she has already with some of the other ABS business owners as well. So yeah, that's the great thing, Adam, that has been created with this ABS group and this family, is that we've got everybody helping one another. I know that so many times I'll get questions about, hey, is another ABS business owner going to be a competition for me? I think we built this big group here of support here.
Yep. It's a big family.
Yeah, and you can make your role be what really kind of whatever you want it to be in this business. So there's different paths that people choose to take, as far as there's some people that would prefer to do the billing work like Michelle. There's other people that would rather have that subcontracted or hire other people. And so we actually have a lot of options. Michelle's very familiar with this. A lot of options for subcontract work. So if anyone on this webinar, joined ABS, went through the training, and if you happen to land, maybe a large account right out of the gate, we have subcontracting resources for you to get the job done. So that's nothing that you have to worry about. And then ongoing, if, because we actually have a lot of people that have gone through this and they're like, you know what, I just want to be a sales guy. That's all I want to do is go talk to doctors, and I don't want to do the technical work. Well, you can be that as well. So that's why I say you can be whatever you want to be in this, and you can take our training paths and learn the technical stuff, or just have somebody else do it. Like that's my preference. I love subcontracting work. I love other people doing the work for me.
You bet. You bet.
What else we got?
Let's see. Kendra is asking a very similar question again. She goes, I'm a coder and builder, been doing it for 32 years. My question is, do I still need my LLC? That would be a limited liability company entity and business license to start, or does ABS do all of that? Well, it's Kendra, it's kind of yes, and a little bit of yes and both type of that. We're going to teach you and show you what you're going to need to do to get your limited liability company, because everybody needs to have their own entity to do business, whether you're doing medical billing or some other type of business out there. You're going to need to have that, but we're going to coach you right through that and give you the support that you need. So Michelle, kind of help answer that question. Did you come with your own business entity, or did you find that ABS helped you kind of pull all that together?
No, ABS definitely helped us pull it all together with all of the recommendations. Some of it I already had, because I already knew about it just from being in the business for as long as I've been in. But as far as getting my LLC set up and everything like that, it was a big help going through ABS. But I definitely recommend getting the LLC set up just to cover yourself, and also just so that you can keep your business separate from your personal stuff. It's easier. But no, ABS was a huge help.
Yeah, and just to clarify Kendra's question there, all of our owners are truly independent business owners. We help them set up their own entity. So you're able to tell people you're a part of the ABS network if you want to, but you've got your own company name, your own brand, your own logo, and we actually print all of that information on the customized marketing materials that we've created for you. You get your own website with your name and logo on there. So we really set you up to be truly independent. It's just that you're able to lean on us for training and support ongoing. So let's see. We'll click done on that one. You want me to read a couple more questions here?
Sure, yeah.
Well, this was kind of a broad question. Jonathan's asking, how do you get your foot in the door with the doctors? Well, Jonathan, we have about a dozen different marketing methods that we've been kind of perfecting throughout the years, and they're really focused on getting referrals, strategic partnerships with people in other industries that work with doctors. We've had a lot of success partnering up with medical device salespeople and pharma reps and people that are actually out there talking with doctors right now. So there's a lot of ways that are not cold calling that work really well. There are some people that have success just going and knocking on doors, but that's very, 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 very low down on the list for most people as far as what they're comfortable with. So we have a lot of less aggressive approaches. But it kind of goes back as well. It kind of goes back to what Michelle was saying, where if you just present yourself as someone who is there to educate and inform, we have ways for you to do that. We have marketing materials, which, maybe Michelle, you can talk about if you've used any of our books to market with. I don't know, but we have written some books on revenue cycle management that you can give to doctors and office managers as a free gift, an educational tool, if you will. And those are designed to build up your credibility. We actually have a book that we print your name as the author of the foreword of the book that we have. And so that's just a huge credibility builder for you. And that's just one of many ways that we have to get your foot in the door with the doctors. So we've got it down to a fine art at this point. Michelle, have you used any of our books to market with yet? Or did you have some of those custom books made?
I do have some of the books. I have not utilized it yet. But I do know a couple of other ABS licensees that I've been working with that have utilized them, and that's how they got their first clients, was utilizing those books.
Yeah,
and they would give it to like a family member who had a doctor's appointment, And the family member would go to their doctor's appointment and leave it with the doctor, as they were leaving, they handed it to the doctor, and then the doctor looked at it, and like a couple weeks later, the doctor calls him up and says, "Hey, I saw this book. I thought you left it, but I was reading it." And he's like, "This is very interesting. This is your business?" And she's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I want to learn. I want to know more." And so they scheduled an appointment with them, and they got their client that way.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we've
Yeah.
heard that happening quite often. And what's funny is a lot of times the doctors think the licensee wrote the book, and they have to say,
Right.
"No, no, I didn't write it. I wrote the forward." So it's pretty cool. Pretty good marketing tool there. What
Yeah,
else?
yeah. I was going to say, and Adam, you co-wrote a book also with Dr. Rackner too. It's another type of a book, and so it's not just one book that we have. We've got several, and we got other, obviously different types of marketing material to kind of get out there. And I kind of like to talk about that marketing thing a little bit if we could. Michelle, you said that you were kind of not great about marketing, but apparently you're doing something right. But I think if we can all find out is that really people would love to do business with other people if they know that they're out there. And so if we kind of back off on this whole fear of marketing, the way I like to present it is, you got to let people know that you're in business. And so it sounds like this is exactly what you've done. You've just let other people know this is what I'm doing. And
Mhm.
the more you get to share that, the more people that you're going to start at least knocking on your door. And
Yep.
that's really the message I'd like for us to make sure that we're clarifying that we've got all these different techniques and different avenues, really just to put yourself out there in the marketplace, let people know that you're in business.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And for me, it was me just being on social media really and just answering questions. I make sure that I'm involved in a lot of the different Facebook groups that are out there for medical billing practices, obviously the ABS Facebook page, but I also joined the AAPC's website, which is for the American Coders Association. And so a lot of providers will get on there. MGMA's even got a Facebook, the Medical Group Management Association. They've got a Facebook page too that you can get on there, and a lot of doctors are on there looking for, business, to do billing. Every now and then you get a doctor on there saying, anybody have any recommendations for a billing person? You can also be on LinkedIn if you put in any kind of like hashtags or anything like that, or you Google something, before you know it, your thread keeps getting full of, people looking for medical billing. And then you just respond and you get lucky because someone will respond to you and be like, "Hey, can you tell me more about this?" Or just answering questions that people are posing and just answering it. And they'll be like, "Oh, can you teach me more about this?" And then before you know it, they're like, "Can you do my billing for me?" Sure. I have no problem doing that.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah, you can guide them and guide them until they're like, "Okay, I don't want to do this anymore. You do it for me, please."
Yep. Yep.
Now, I know that just to clarify, I think you mentioned this a minute ago, and people may not have picked up on it, but you do have a full-time job right now, so you're very busy, and
Yeah.
you have a very limited amount of time for marketing and stuff. I understand
Yep.
that. So
Yep.
I'm just curious, like, well, this is kind of a two-part question. Like, what marketing methods would you attempt if you had a lot more time? And also the other part of the question is, what would you, like if you didn't have all of this knowledge and you were kind of a beginner, what would you recommend to people on here that don't have a bunch of billing experience? What should they do with their time as far as finding business? Does that make sense?
Ooh. Let me see. Let me think about that. So, well, one, definitely get out there and start marketing. Reach out to your family members and stuff like that. Again, do what another ABS licensee did. Give them the books, have them drop it off every time they go to a doctor's office, right? But the next thing is like social media, I think is a huge thing nowadays. There's so many doctors' offices, even office managers that are on social media looking for billing companies. Instagram's really good. Believe it or not, TikTok, even doing cute little TikTok skits, might even be cute, frustrations, being a medical office manager, being frustrated with your, or a doctor being frustrated with the paperwork that you have to do just to get paid from the insurance companies, doing a skit like that. And then you come in and swoop in as the hero and take over the billing and, take that headache away from them. But like for me, that would be something I would do just because I'm not really good about doing any kind of cold calling or anything like that. But as a new person, that's kind of a way to get the attention. And again, with social media being the way that it is nowadays, it's like anytime you start talking about something, I'm pretty sure my phone's going to start blowing up right now about, medical billing companies out there because we're talking about it.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but networking too, like if you're going anywhere, like even getting out of your comfort zone and going somewhere that you wouldn't normally go to, like maybe a commerce, for new businesses that are opening up. They usually have like a meeting or something like that where you can go meet new business owners. And a lot of times it's doctors, starting out new, and they're looking for somebody. I believe another ABS licensee, that's how she got one of her clients. She went to one of the, sorry, I think it's the commerce. I think that's what you call it in the city, where you can go and meet, and they do it like once a month or something like that.
Mhm.
And you can go and meet new businesses that are opening up.
Yeah.
I live in Arizona, and we actually have through Facebook, there is a called Arizona Business Networking. It's a Facebook page. I go on that. I've had a couple of doctors' offices even, reach out during that because it's specifically for Arizona businesses.
Yeah.
And looking for, assistance and stuff. And of course, it's for all different businesses, but I mean, it's a good start. It's a good way of getting out there. The other thing I would recommend too is if you don't have a lot of billing and coding background to speak that language, partnering with somebody that, can maybe give you that language to speak when you are speaking with a new client. Or even maybe asking them to be on the phone call with them when they're talking to the new client, the potential client. That way they know that you've got somebody in the corner that's helping you if you don't speak all the language.
Yeah, that's a good tip. So essentially what you're saying is online and in-person networking is really what
Yep.
focus should be. And that's exactly what we teach, is to get your name out there in a way that's, you really have to go to those events planning on being, like you said, planning on being a helper. I'm
Yep.
just here to help you.
Yeah.
What do you need? What can I do for you? That should
Yep.
be focus of going to these events and these social media pages, is what can I do for you? And then,
Right.
reciprocity,
Reciprocity.
reciprocity. Hopefully people will start sending business your way because they trust you, because you've been
Yep.
helping all that. So, you want to read any more of these questions, Eric?
Yeah, well, I was going to just also just kind of bounce in there as well I think Chamber of Commerce's are great because the chambers they have those luncheons at least once a
That's
month.
what it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just good Michelle says she's kind of breaking out of her comfort zone, and it might be a little bit, it might be a little unnerving to go, but it's just good to let people know that you're out there doing business. And typically, if you'll go to one of those luncheons, you can usually drop your card off at every one of the tables there. And you never know if you run across a doctor, or you could run across a home health agency, or you run across somebody else in healthcare that is already doing business with a doctor. And that's where people go, oh, wow, you do medical billing. I just was at a doctor's office 2 weeks ago, and they were complaining about that they couldn't get their claims processed. Could you think you could help them? See, that now you've got people coming to you, and because all you've done is introduce yourself, and you just let people know what you're doing there. So yeah, that's a great way. And Michelle, I encourage you to go out there and do that some more, because it's really fun. Once you kind of get involved in it, it does get a lot of fun out there. Yeah, let's see. So I think we already talked about a couple of these. I'm kind of just going back through. I know that Jonathan's asking about what are profitable specialties to work with. Do you have any particular specialties you like working with?
Well, my particular specialty is ortho and neurosurgery. That's kind of where my background's been. Currently, my current job is behavioral health, but I do have a very extensive background in orthopedics and neurosurgery, as well as pathology. I've done some pathology, but internal medicine, primary care. I've kind of done a lot of specialties, but the majority of my time is spent with orthopedics and neurosurgery. They are very profitable just because of the types of surgeries that they do are very expensive surgeries. The coding is a lot harder though, so you do want to make sure that you've got a good coder that can help you, unless they've already got a coder and they're not looking for a coder. That's fine, and they're just looking for somebody to do the billing, because trust me, there's a lot of work in that billing part. But the coding is key for that because you want to make sure your claims are going out clean so that you're getting paid. The other one is cardiology. Cardiology is very is a top performer specialty. Oncology, I hate to say it, oncology, but oncology is another one, unfortunately. Those are probably the top ones. Another one is interventional radiology is probably another one. But your primary care physicians, your internal medicine, your family practices, pediatric practices, those are the ones that really, really, really need your help too. But they can be profitable, but it's kind of easy work. I wouldn't say easy, but it's easier. And you're going to get a higher volume. And you can probably get, several of those clients and be fine. But if you're really looking for the high dollar money, that's going to be your specialties like ortho, neurosurgery, cardiology, interventional radiology.
Yeah, and that may be where you might team up with somebody like Michelle to kind of work kind of in tandem with each other in that area. Because again, you might need a little bit of help and kind of getting some things going there. But eventually, once you kind of start doing the billing for a specialty, then nothing's going to kind of throw you off, really. I think that's probably what you've found out, Michelle, is that you kind of stick with one specialty, you kind of learn that specialty, you kind of know how to bill for that. You've mentioned coding and billing. Can you address a little bit really what the difference is between a coder and a biller?
Yeah. So a coder is going to be the one who's going to be taking the doctor's, office visit notes, the surgery reports, and converting it into the alphanumeric numbers that get sent over to the insurance companies on the claim forms. Having a good coder in your back pocket is key because the better the coder, the better your claims are going to be. And you're making sure you're not leaving any money on the table as far as not coding something or, because one of the biggest things is you don't want to undercut a doctor. If they're doing a surgery, you want to make sure that every piece of that surgery is getting coded out and billed. The billing piece is where the biller takes what the coder codes, enters those charges into the system, and then bills it out. And then they do all the follow-up. They submit the claims to the insurance companies. They work all the rejections. They post all the payments that come in. They work the denials. And then they follow up on patients' balances and call the patients. The coder specifically is just doing the coding. They also may help out with doing auditing of the practices because there are some practices like family practice and primary care internal where they will do their own coding as far as their office visits go. They might not, if they do surgeries, they might not do the surgery part, but they'll do the office visits. And so having an auditor, which would be a coder, going in and auditing the doctors to make sure that they're not overcoding or undercoding, because that's something else you don't want to get stuck doing with if the payers decide to do an audit on their stuff. So you want to be one step ahead of them.
You bet. And Adam, you want to kind of address both of those with Audit Guard and CodeRight?
I mean, I think we pretty much, that's as far as we need to go on that one. That got a little too for some people.
Good.
Let's move on to more questions.
Sure.
Let's see. So Rochelle is asking, do you have a team doing different jobs or are you doing this solo? Michelle? No,
I definitely have a team. There's no way I could do it all by myself. Again, I still have that full-time job. Getting close to saying goodbye to that full-time job. But no, I definitely have a team helping me. I've got a few clients. I've got, one biller and I've got a coder who's, handling mainly all the surgeries that are being done, but I've got a biller for each one of my clients handling all of the billing and working denials. I do hop in there and help, obviously. I might tackle the denials while they're doing the billing part, or another client, I might do the billing part, or I might do the coding. So we all just kind of pick our roles with it. But no, I definitely have a team. When I first started, however, it was just me doing it solo. But now there's no way I could do that now.
Yeah. So has it been relatively easy to manage the growth? I mean, I think you tapped into our subcontracting resources, didn't you? Or
I did. So at first, it was really easy because it was slow, but then all of a sudden I kind of got like, I got a lot all at once and I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? It was like 3 in 1 week. And but I reached out to my network of coders and billers that I have. Being a part of AAPC group, I went on to our Facebook page and I said, hey, is anybody looking for some, part-time subcontracting work, be interested, work your own hours. You can work from home. You can work in your pajamas. I don't care. I mean, that's the beauty, right? And I got an overwhelming response of people saying, oh my gosh, yes, I would love to have some extra work, part-time, subcontracting. Some of them are like, I would love to go full-time if you have it. I'm like, absolutely. As I start growing, there'll be more work for you. But yeah, so it was easy for me to find the help. So at first I was super overwhelmed, but then I was able to find the help. And now I'm like, okay, I can breathe.
What do you feel as far as how much work one person can handle? I mean, do you have a good estimate of like how many doctors one person can manage in a day or?
It does depend on the specialty. So if you've got a doctor, well, especially in volume, I should say. So if you've got a doctor's office that is like like a primary care physician and they're seeing 20, 30 patients in a day, primary care billing is actually pretty easy to do because there isn't a lot of weird coding as far as like injections and pain management and all that. I mean, there is, sorry, I'm kind of like, there is a little bit, but primary care is easier than if you were to do like an orthopedic surgeon's coding
Right.
and billing. So you could get through that volume pretty quickly. So you could have like one biller do maybe like a 1 to 2 practice, physician practice pretty easily. If they get like a third one, maybe 1.5. You definitely want to have a backup though, in case that person goes on vacation, right? So if you got help from somebody, if it's you, you also want a backup too for yourself if you want to go on vacation. Um, but if you get into like a specialty practice, you're going to have double the work because normally a specialty practice will end up having like a nurse practitioner helping them or a physician
Mhm.
assistant helping them. So while the physician assistant can be doing the office visits, follow-up office visits and all that stuff, the surgeon's busy doing the surgeries. So you're going to have kind of like that double the work. And the denials can be a little bit more trickier to work. The coding is definitely trickier. The billing part is a little bit trickier because the guidelines are a little bit harder to follow by the payer guidelines, I should say. So you probably would want for like a one surgeon, you'd want like 1.5 people working that. If you bring in 2, you definitely want 2 full-time people working.
I do kind of have a follow-up. They're asking kind of what do you pay these people? Do you share revenue or anything like that? Or how does that work for you?
So right now, because it's so new and I do a revenue share. So whatever percentage I'm charging, they get a percentage of that.
Okay. So you assign a certain client to a certain person and you're like, this is your practice. Like you need to take care of
Yep.
them and then you get to share in the
Yep.
nice. So
Yep.
just a small split of what if you don't mind sharing like what typically are you charging your clients or your practices?
It depends on the size of the practice and the volume. So if it's a small practice, like I have one where she's kind of semi-retired. She can't do surgery anymore because she has rheumatoid arthritis. So she's just doing, follow-ups and second opinions. So she doesn't see a lot of patients in the month. And so the volume is very low. So I actually charge her 10%. And she knows that because it's not something that she wants to give up. It's kind of like she does it because she loves to do it and she's not ready
Mhm.
to 100% retire. So she is fine paying me 10%. I handle everything. She's fine with it. The other clients that I have, I have one that's like a 3 provider office and their volume, they're strictly primary care. So they do some in-office procedures, but nothing big. It's not major. So I charge them about 5.5%. I'm gonna probably renegotiate the rate here in a little bit because they want me to do patient calls.
Mm,
And that wasn't in the original one. And so with patient calls, that's a lot more time consuming, right? So I'm gonna probably renegotiate that rate to be a little bit higher if I'm gonna do that because probably gonna have to hire somebody to do the patient calls.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think it really depends on the size. Now, if you were to get like to get a 20 provider practice, um, you probably want to look at lowering your percentage because you are going to be in competition with other billing companies that are out there that can, go in at 3% or 4%, or some of them, gosh, 2.5%. But more than likely, those are the overseas ones, and they're not going to do the quality of work that we're going to do.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that you have to use in your sales. You got to show them that, like, well, you can go with them, but you're not going to get the quality of work that you're going to get from us. So we're a little bit higher, but you're going to be thankful for that come a year from now.
A lot of
So
medical practices have to learn that the hard way. We've heard tons
Yeah.
of
unfortunately,
horror stories where they're like, well, I'm going to go with the 2%. and then a month later they're calling the licensee and they're like, it's a mess, I need help, you know. So
Yep.
you got to know
Yep.
you're right. You have to know what you're worth first of all, and stand
Yep.
your ground, you know. Did you utilize ABS support at all for any pricing or proposals or anything, or did you kind of do that on your own?
I did it on my own. Now I wish I had used the support, because I think that with a couple of them, because some of these doctors can be very difficult to work with, you know, because they've been burned by a previous billing company, right? Or maybe they got burned by their own in-house billing, you know, because they weren't doing their job. So they're very hesitant to help with or to pay that rate. So I think with having the ABS support, and I'm talking with other ABS licensees, they said, I am so thankful for having ABS support help me with the negotiations, because I don't think I would have gotten the rate that I got if it wasn't for them. So I wish I had on a couple of clients. A couple of the other ones, they were easy because the doctors were just like, oh my gosh, please, thank you, I'll pay you whatever. But I'm like, dang, I should have charged more.
Yeah. We've had a lot of licensees that their first client, they didn't ask for help from support, and they ended up charging a very low rate, and they were like, I'm not making any money, dang it, you know.
Yeah.
Like, well, you got to use our support, you got to lean on our pros that know what they're doing, you know. So
Yep.
Michael's asking, are your clients local to where you live? Are they all over the place or what?
They're all over the place. I've got one in Arizona, where I'm helping with one in California, Texas, Tennessee. Got a potential one that's out in Pennsylvania, and one in Ohio that I'm working on right now.
Wow,
That's great.
nationwide. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for everybody on here that wasn't aware, this isn't a traditional franchise, so there are no territories. You can literally have clients in any part of the nation, and the systems we use are all cloud-based, so it's pretty darn easy to do, you know. So
Yep.
Yeah, nothing to load on your computers and keep up with software. So I'm glad you brought that up, Adam, about the areas, you know, where you can serve. So that's awesome.
yeah,
So
Anonymous
what?
just asked if this is a protected territory, and I just answered that. So
Yeah. So Michelle, I mean, what's your kind of your magic number now for you to be able to step away from your other job and run a business?
Well, if I land these two other ones that I'm working on, my day job's going to get a notice.
oh wow,
That's awesome.
getting
Yeah.
close. Wow.
Yeah.
I remember you and I had a conversation about that, and you make a pretty good living at that job. I
I
understand.
do.
Yeah.
I do.
So that's great to hear that you're getting close. You're getting close.
Yeah.
We
Yeah. I
we
just needed to make sure that, you know, because I get benefits, you know, there's health benefits and stuff like that. So there's definitely benefits to having a day job. um, because when you become your own employer, you've got to worry about, you know, taking care of yourself as far as health insurance and medical and all that fun stuff. So that I wasn't ready to get rid of that day job, because I don't want to get rid of those benefits, you know, with having a family. But I'm close to where I will be able to do that and be able to afford to, you know, pay for that on my own as an
Good
individual
for you.
employer.
it should be very encouraging for people on here hearing that you can run this business part-time in the beginning
Yeah.
if you have to, you know, if it can,
Mhm.
because obviously there's a lot of people on here that have a decent job with decent money coming in, and they just can't go full time. So it's a
Yep.
little bit more of a grind, you know, it takes a little bit longer to get those clients, you know, locked down.
Yep.
Eventually you'll get to where you are and you're able to just say goodbye, job, you know.
Yeah.
I'm truly in my own boss now. That's what everyone should
Yeah.
aspire to, hopefully. So
I think one thing that that as a new ABS licensee or starting out, don't be afraid to make less at the beginning, because you have to hire somebody to help you to
Yeah.
keep the clients. Because one of the things you want to do is make sure your clients are happy. And if you're trying to do it all yourself, you're going to start failing. You're going to start getting behind on everything. You're going to start getting behind on getting the claims out the door, so that you're getting the money in the door. And then if you get rejections or denials, and you're not working those timely, and then they hit timely, and so you have no recourse, so you're not getting money in, so your clients will start getting upset with that. So don't be afraid to hire somebody to help you do that, because then your clients are going to be happy, and then you're going to start getting more and more clients. So the money might not be great at first, but it will start coming as you add more clients, because your current clients are happy, and then they're going to refer you out to other people, and then before you know it, you're going to be like, adios to my day job. I'm doing this full time.
I love it.
Yeah. My dad had a saying, a good old Southern saying, don't stumble over the pennies to get to the dollars now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, a bunch of questions came in that are kind of more related to just ABS in general. I was trying to figure out what we got here. So
Let me ask this one. I've got this one from Nathan. So Michelle, can you do this coding thing in the evenings, on the weekends? You know, how do you schedule your day?
I usually do it in the evenings.
Yeah.
If I'm not bogged down by a lot of meetings in the day during with my day job, I might during my lunch hour or something like that, just go through and knock out a bunch of billing and coding. But yeah, you can definitely do it in the evenings. The one thing I would say, those don't leave it all to the end of the week, because you want to make sure that you're getting claims and the coding done and the claims out the door within 24 to 48 hours, so that you're making sure that those the money's coming in the door on a regular basis.
I'm so glad that you said that, because that's exactly what I tell people as far as doctors' expectations. I say, if you can get them in submitted within 24 to 48 hours, they are completely happy with that.
Yeah.
What has your experience been as far as doctors with their messy in-house billing? Aren't they so backed up that they're having trouble submitting those in a timely manner? Like how long have you seen practices where it's taken them to submit claims?
I've walked into a practice and they were 3 months behind.
Oh,
And
my goodness.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah, it was really bad. And for all of you who don't know, like, insurance companies have a timely filing limit. So some of
Yes.
them, like United Healthcare, it's 90 days.
Whoa.
Aetna, at least here, we have our contract is 60 days. Like, we have 60 days to get out the door. Blue
Wow.
Cross Medicare is a little bit better. It's a year. You have a year to get it out. But a lot of these, and especially like your local like Medicaid plans, they usually have shorter time frames to get claims out the door. It can range anywhere between 60 days to 180 days, but some of them are usually in that 60 to 90 days. So you want to make sure you don't get behind on that.
You're telling me if 90 days go by and you don't send in this claim to, what was it, United,
Mm-hmm.
then they're never going to pay it.
Nope.
Hmm.
They'll deny it for timely filing.
I did not
Yeah.
realize that those windows were so small. I thought they were like a year.
Medicare and
No.
Blue Cross are a year. You have a year for Medicare and Blue Cross.
Wow,
So
90 days. That's crazy.
yeah.
Good.
So when you walk in and you've got these doctors out, they're so far behind, and
Yeah.
you're just like, I'm sorry, I can't do anything with this old stuff. I can only work on the stuff that's, within your timely filing. And then also, once you get the claim into the door to the payer, you have a certain amount of time to rework that. If it gets rejected or
Sure.
denied, you only have a certain amount of time to work it then too. So you don't want to get behind on that as well. So that's why I say it's really important to make sure that you're working everything timely. So get some help in the beginning. If you can't quit your day job and focus 100% on this, get some help at the beginning, so that you're not getting behind and you're staying on top of it and making those doctors happy.
Yeah. So we're almost at the top of the hour here, or the bottom of the hour, top of the hour.
Top of the hour. We got about 10 more minutes here.
So thank you so much for being on, Michelle. You've answered a lot of good questions. Just to kind of summarize, now you're doing this part-time.
Yep.
Just summarize what you've already said about how many clients and staff you have.
So I've got, oh gosh, how many clients? Seven clients. Well, I should say 7 accounts. I've got 4 clients, but a couple of them I'm subcontracting with some of them. So, and they've got 2 clients each. So I say 4 clients, but 7 total accounts. And I've got 4 employees helping me right now, plus myself. So 5.
Wow. And you started when?
I started in 2022, June of 2022, but didn't really take off until the last 4 or 5 months. And that was solely on me. I was so focused on my day job that I didn't really take the time to really kind of do. But then finally I was just like, you know what? I just started getting out there and answering questions and really kind of getting out there. And then it just took off.
And
I got one question before you go.
Yeah.
Because you had all this background, tell me about, how did you find the ABS training?
I literally was just Googling medical billing businesses, how to start a medical billing business, and ABS popped up.
But my question is really, when you started with us, how did you find the training that we gave you?
Oh,
based upon,
you enjoyed the training, or what are you asking?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, it was very good. It was very good. Yes, I enjoyed it. It was long because we did it in the evenings and we did on the weekends. We did it around everybody's schedule, right? Because we all have full-time jobs
Sure.
and so our trainer, you know, she worked around us. So sometimes, you know, we get home from work and we're like, oh, we're so tired. We're like, oh wait, we got training. But we knocked it out. I think we knocked it out within 2 weeks, we knocked out all the training.
It's awesome.
And
Yeah.
it's probably helpful for you because it was a lot of marketing and business development, which you kind of
Yep.
need, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And then it was easy kind of for us too, because you know, with being so experienced as far as the billing and coding part, we were able to kind of skip through some of the billing and coding stuff or go through it quickly. So she would ask us like, "Do you have any questions?" We're like, "No, we got I know this part." But for other people, it was very, very, very extensive, and it did give a lot of really good information. So definitely take your notes, save the gosh, what do you call it? The PowerPoints, save the PowerPoints, the presentations, and reference them. I can't tell you how many times I've gone back and referenced about the PowerPoint presentations. For something, I'm like, wait a second, she went over this, and I went back and I looked for I found the slide and found the information I needed. So it was really good.
All right. Well, thanks so much for being on here, Michelle. It's great chatting with you. Some other questions we can get to here, but you're welcome to. I know you got a busy day, so so thanks for being on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Michelle. Have a good one.
Right.
We look forward
to
hearing back from you when you go full time.
Oh yes, I will definitely let you guys know that.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.